Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Toronto at Consensus2025 by CoinDesk. Joining me for this segment, we have Eric Piscini. He's CEO of Hashgraph, and we are here to discuss a scalable solution tailored to modern business needs that also remains compliant and future ready for the digital asset space. Eric, it is great to see you.
Good
Welcome back
to
to Trade Talks. You
Thank
reminded
you.
me our fourth time.
I know, right?
In a
Yes.
different city,
Yeah.
in a different venue. So let's talk about Hashsphere.
Yeah.
Hashsphere, something
Yes.
new. That's a solution sitting between public and private blockchains. Give us some background on that, what some of the fundamental changes are.
Yeah. So at Hedera, we are a public ledger, right, by design since 2018. And so the challenge for us was when we were getting clients coming to us and saying, I love your technology, I love the team, I love what you're doing, but I am a regulated entity. I have data residency issues. I have limitation in what I can do. I don't want my competition to know that I'm transacting with someone else. I need a private version of you, right? That's how they were coming to us. And we said, okay, we're going to do it. And so we said, we're going to design the same platform as we have in the public ledger in the private space and offer that to our clients. And that's called Hashsphere. That's a new product we launched.
And that's built on
The same code base as Hedera. So it's the exact same platform, except that the nodes are not run by a public network. It's run by the clients themselves.
What elements of Hedera's architecture or ecosystem make Hashsphere particularly well suited to support broader enterprise blockchain adoption?
Yeah, so I think it's all around the topic of regulatory data residency, service levels, right? One of the things that you and I have been talking for a long time is when I have an issue and I build a solution, an enterprise solution on a public ledger, if the public ledger doesn't work, who is going to pick up the phone when I have a problem?
Right.
All right. No one, because no one is actually own a public ledger by design, right? So what we are offering with Hashsphere is the ability for someone to say, I am going to build a real serious enterprise platform on this. And if I have an issue, I know I'm going to call Eric because Eric is going to pick up the phone to help me fix my issue, right? And that's enterprise grade versus public ledger. So we are merging the best of both. We are merging the best of the public ledger that we have been running for a long time and the enterprise grade solutions. So now we can find our clients where they are, right? So regardless of where they are, we're going to find a solution for them.
So it sounds like Hashsphere is going to help expand the Hedera ecosystem beyond existing partners and sectors for that reason.
Exactly. Yes. So you're right. So the ecosystem play is important, right? So you have people coming to us, startups, builders saying, oh, now I know you're going to be able to address anything in the market. So I'm going to build on you. And by automatically benefit mainnet, the public ledger, because now they are building for everybody at once.
What industries or use cases are currently experiencing the fastest growth on Hedera, and which do you see as the key drivers for the network's next major wave of adoption?
So, I mean, of course, AI, right? Has been a really big driver for us in the last 6 months. We actually launched here at Consensus the AI Studio. So now we have a studio designed for people who are building an AI solution, whether it's an agent, whether it's a model, whether it's an application, to build on the top of Hedera. So Hedera turns into the trust layer of AI, right? So the supply chain of AI, from getting data to providing an output, all of that is recorded on Hedera, and now you can trust what your AI is doing for you, which is really, really important.
Right. What would you say are the key barriers that are still holding back broader enterprise blockchain adoption? Because it sounds as if this all makes sense. You're thinking of compliance in mind, auditability, transparency. It sounds like that's what enterprise would want. So what's holding them back? And what are the solutions or shifts that could help them adopt?
Yeah, I think it's typical innovation cycle, right? So when you have a new innovation, people take time to understand it. So education has been a challenge for a long time in blockchain. And then the number two is the cost of transforming yourself, right? So if you're a large organization, you move from one system to another. It's not about the technology that's expensive. That's not expensive. What's expensive is change management. Because you have to retrain your team. You have to reconnect your systems. You have to engage with your ecosystem, your partners. All of that has to change because the platform, the foundation is changing. And if you don't do that right, it could be very, very expensive. So that's a big limitation.
Right.
Nothing special to blockchain, by the way. The same with cloud, the same with internet, the same with all innovation. That's the nature of enterprise market.
Right. And that's a great point that you make, because a lot of conversations we have had, once there's regulatory framework in place, that's really going to be the catalyst. And I'm glad you brought that up, because the risk model will change.
Yeah.
Your vendors will change. Your cybersecurity response plans will change. You have to, train, and the culture from the top down needs to shift.
Yeah.
That's massive.
It is. It is a huge change. And, before being in blockchain, I've been in blockchain, as you know, for 12 years.
Yeah.
Before that, I was doing cloud. And
Right.
the adoption of cloud was the same challenge. It was a big change to move from a data center to a cloud environment for all the reasons you just mentioned. And we are doing it again, right? So now we are doing that not for the internet of data, but for the internet of value, which is blockchain.
I mean, it could be expensive as well. It's like having an aircraft carrier turn around, within 30 seconds. It doesn't necessarily work like that. But how are you going to allocate your resources and your capital? Where's that money going to go for, to have the right skill? Do we have the right skill set, do you think, to support the industry?
So we do, because you have a huge population of people working in Web 2 who know how to do this, right? Who know how to transform enterprise. We just need to bring them into Web 3 and say, come here, and we're going to do it again, right? Like we did for cloud. We're going to do it again with blockchain. We're going to transform the blockchain promise into something real, because now we can provide service levels. Now we can provide regulatory framework, compliance, all of this thing that we do.
When it's enterprise, you're not just talking about financial services.
Oh, no,
this
across the board. Yeah.
Healthcare is a great example.
Or supply chain. There is a great supply chain example I love, which is what we did for Hyundai and Kia.
Oh, tell us.
And so Hyundai and Kia, they have their own supply chain. And we didn't go to them and say, your supply chain doesn't work, we're going to change it. We're going to say, we're going to add a layer to it that's going to provide more value to you than what you have today. So we don't disrupt too much. We just incrementally add capabilities to their existing supply chain. So what we did is we said, bring your suppliers to Hedera. We're going to capture every event that your suppliers and yourself are generating when you create a car. And when the car is delivered to the client, you actually know the exact carbon footprint of that car, because everything has been captured along the way. And if you want to offset that carbon footprint, you can buy carbon credits, and now you're green as an enterprise, right? Because it's typically enterprises who are doing this. So we didn't change the supply chain. We just added a layer to it for carbon footprint tracking. And it's super effective, super
that's
interesting.
Encouraging to hear other stories outside of financial services, especially in an event like Consensus. Now you're starting to talk about the infrastructure, not just digital assets on
not
chain.
Just the crypto piece, but the actual infrastructure. Yes.
All right. Appreciate the insight as always, Eric. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me from Consensus. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.